I became conscious of homelessness here when I was a student in Dalgan. One of the priest's lecturers one day, in a throwaway statement, he said, "You're not going to be at home anymore." For the next 6 weeks, at least, if not more, I went through a loss and change grief situation of trying to cope with the fact that I wasn't going to be at home anymore and asking myself the question, where was home? I had to try to figure out over the years how to be at home in my head, my heart, and my shoes in the one place. So the consciousness of homelessness has always been there.
We are here at St. Catherine's Foyer, South Dublin City, and we're here to meet the Peter McFerry Trust team. The safety net team, doctor and nurse, are going out with the mobile health unit here, and they're going out to visit rough sleepers and bring health care to the people who are sleeping out. This happens all year round. 3 nights a week we go out, the safety net team, medical team go out with Dublin Simon on 2 nights a week, Peter McFerry on another night a week, and then other times where there would be a need to go and visit someone, bring health care to people who don't access it otherwise or won't come into one of the clinics.
A lot of people might have their own GP, a lot of people have no medical card. Some of the ones that have their own GP might be, have a GP where they're from and have moved up to Dublin, or even it might be their GP's in Tala or Finglas and they can't get out there based on where they're staying or circumstances. So I've actually, I've seen people on the bus or in the in-reach services, and I've actually seen them during the day where I work in other places, and they still would go to their own GP if they could. But I guess a lot of people, similar to like a regular GP out of hours, they might come once off, or they might come often if they can't get in to see their own GP or have no GP themselves.
Tonight we're going out with a GP and a clinical nurse manager, and they not alone do they have the skills of a doctor and a nurse, they have additional training and skills to deal with people in this circumstance, to deal with people with addictions, to deal with difficult mental health problems, and to deal with these things where you don't have necessarily, you're not in a clinic, you don't have a team around you, so you have to think on the spot.
Some people take longer as well, if like a psychiatry or new depression, or with someone having a crisis, things like that as well can take a long time, even if physically it's not an emergency. So yeah, but people generally get the time. If they need the time, they're given the time. So sometimes what can delay things, or I think takes a while, is finding people as well. Perfect. Super. Ansley or Lemon Street as close as we can get. Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks, bye.
You just have to, get out of bed yourself in the morning, go out in the street, and you feel the cold, the wet, the damp, and then think about what it's like, when people are sleeping out on a piece of cardboard. The health conditions, I'm thinking of one man who actually suffered frostbite and lost the best part of his feet while sleeping out. Other people have lost their lives. It's very severe, and it's a very poor indictment, I think, of our society today.
So tonight, I suppose it was a bit of a quiet one, we could say, but we covered a lot of ground. So we started off on Grafton Street to see a gentleman that we were following up with to give him a prescription. He wasn't actually there. I think we were a bit too early. He hadn't bedded down yet, so we went out to the canal on the south side to visit a guy in a tent there. He had actually been moved on, so there was a sweep done yesterday, and a lot of the people who were sleeping along the canal have been given beds. So there was remnants of a tent there, but the gentleman we were looking for wasn't actually there, which is a positive thing because at least he's in accommodation now. And then we got a phone call from one of the outreach teams. They were concerned about a lady on O'Connell Street. So we came back into O'Connell Street and we spent a good bit of time chatting to this lady. She's actually a lady we've been linking in with for quite a while. We know her quite well, and it was very good engagement. So we've put a plan in place for her. She wouldn't take accommodation tonight, but there's a plan for us to link in with her in the morning and bring her up to the hospital actually, just so she can have a bit of respite. And then we had a gentleman just hop on we saw him a couple of weeks ago. He was looking for his blood results and just took his blood pressure, and he was very happy with that. So that was our night.
I think it's you, me, everybody. Everybody knows somebody or is connected in some way to somebody who is homeless. I think we have to stop pointing the finger at the powers that be and ask ourselves, what are we doing to either help someone who's struggling, who may be at risk of homelessness, or help somebody who is, or befriend somebody who is struggling. You know, in Ireland we have members of our family, distant members, and I think it's a societal problem, and we all need to be doing something.
The reality is, there's a lot of people in trouble. Serious trouble, and families in Ireland. A lot of people scared, no home, scared they're going to lose their home as well.
It's something we shouldn't have to deserve. Home is a human need, and it's a human right as well.
So I lived in a hole in the park. I dug a hole in the park, and it's still there. Not in the movie, where you're sitting up top, lighting a fire. That didn't exist. And to wish you had a house, a little house, a small little house, or a little room that was safe.
Homelessness anywhere is homelessness everywhere. And what I see today is what I saw in London, Birmingham, or Manchester. And what I see are people trying to do their best at a voluntary level to reach out and to do something about it. But the state seems to be lagging behind its responsibility. The public goodwill is way ahead of administrative goodwill. And this is, I think, the great challenge to where the two should meet.
Sometimes power takes over from this lovely human nature we should have, you know.
Galway Sliman Community would have set up the service here, I believe, in 2013. It's a resource centre. It's not just for street drinkers, it's for people who are living in the community, who are housed in the community. They come in and use it as a resource. It's a social space, somewhere they can have a cup of tea, have a sandwich, and a chat.
I come out here 5 times a week. I'm out here for the last over 10 years. If this wasn't open, it wouldn't be the same. Because if this said it wasn't open, you wouldn't have nowhere to go. I live down here to be able to share water. Small little house. There's 6 in the house out here. I sleep in the sitting room. That's where I sleep now. I have no room to sleep in. Well, the happiest it's when I come out here. It's when I'm talking to people. That's totally happy. When I'm at home, I'm not that happy. Because I know if I come out here, I can tell them things which you can't tell my family. But that's more important. That's why when I'm out here, I'm happy. But if I go home, I'm not.
It's called the hidden homeless scenario, where you have family members who are residing at home, but I suppose have no means to provide rent if they were to move out. You know, their income doesn't cover the rent, so they can't move out. So they're trapped, I suppose, essentially.
But it's very hard to get a place. Impossible for a single person to get a place today. And the prices are sky high at the moment. I do a lot of walking. a lot of reading as well.
What do you like to read?
Anything now that's in front of me. I do some art as well, mostly drawing as well. Just keep me occupied. Oh, I don't drink. I'm off it.
Okay. And did you drink before?
I was drinking since about 19.
Okay.
And then I'm nearly 2 years off now. If they said they wasn't here, I'd be probably still on the drink here. Or maybe I wouldn't be around.
Where do you go when you're lonely? Where do you go when you're trying to cope with loss and change? The place for Irish people goes the pub, which didn't help. It doesn't help. Alcohol doesn't cure homelessness, doesn't cure loneliness, doesn't cure isolation, and doesn't make you any more feel at home than anything else.
I did lost some friends as well from drink, from drugs as well. It's an epidemic. It's killing people, and it's very easy to get.
Do you find Christmas time a happy time?
No, I don't like it, 100%. I hate it. It's only the year I don't like. Because while I was living, I was in a poor place. I was living in a caravan. But I had nothing at the time. Not like today, they have everything.
There are a myriad of reasons as to why people become homeless, and part of it is the free market, as far as I'm concerned. The fact that rent can rise so much, it leaves a particular section of society in a very vulnerable position.
You have to experience it to understand it, to know it. I think John Keats said something like, no experience is real until it is experienced. Even a proverb is no proverb to you.